Around 2 months ago, I went to a tournament in Switzerland, Exodus 3. It had 113 entrants and featured the best players in Switzerland, including Destiny and Yaka. Even though I was the first seed, I knew it wouldn't be easy to win the tournament. I have done well at the previous Exoduses, getting second in the first one, only losing to Homika, and then winning the second one over Pew after a strong losers run. That made me feel a bit more confident going into the tournament. I arrived in Switzerland on Friday, a few days before the tournament, so I could explore Zurich's beautiful city and get some practice in. On Friday, I didn't play too much, but on Saturday I got a decent amount of practice in with Destiny, probably the best tier in Europe. 10 games Sunday and time for the tournament itself. My pool was at 11 AM, which is the wave I prefer because it is easier to warm up for and you can rest during the next wave. My first set was against Umirel, a pretty good Roy. I lost my first stock in both games, but I said to myself to just stick to the game plan and stay calm, and I ended up 2-stocking him twice. Next, I had to play Leon, a casual player from Switzerland, to make it out of pools. Kazuya is one of the scariest characters in this game, especially in the best of 3. Game 1 started really scary. After a lot of awkward scramble situations, he ended up having a full stock lead, but I knew as long as I played like I normally do, I would be able to make the comeback, and that I did. The second game went much better, since for some reason he switched to Ken, and I was able to win that game convincingly. A few hours after my pool, it was time for the top 32, and I had to play Byron, a Swiss Fox. I've always disliked playing against Fox because of his oppressive neutral and advantage state, but I was still confident going into the set. Game 1 started off pretty slowly. I was racking up damage and holding control of the game. Slowing down the game is really important versus Fox, and if you play to his pace, the match can easily snowball to his favor. At the end of the second stock, I got a stock with a ledge grab bear edge guard on his side B, which I've been loving versus Fox. It covers a lot of options, and if you have time to set it up, it's really deadly. After him taking my stock with an early nair up smash, the last stock was pretty even. I did manage to clutch it out with a nice jab back air on his Firefox. Game 2 didn't start off too well. Byron ended up taking both of my stocks at relatively early percents, leaving me at a 2-stock deficit. I didn't mind it too much though. Chrome can always make the comeback. I did end up bringing it to last stock last hit after getting clutch early kills, but he ended up clutching it out with a nair up smash off the ledge.
Oh, and he gets it!
Finally
1-1.
I was feeling slightly shook from that game, but I managed to calm myself down eventually after taking a few deep breaths. He started game 3 off pretty well, but then he went for a greedy up smash that made him die super early. I did end up losing my stock right away to their up smash because I dropped my shield. You can see me slightly frustrated in the player cam since I said to myself before the game started to just stay in shield in those kind of situations. I did not make the same mistake during the next stock, and because of that, I got a nice 50% combo and eventually a kill and the game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Game 4 had a much better start for me. I got the first stock by finally adapting to his ledge jump falling nairs and punishing it with an anti-air F tilt. He tied the game pretty fast with an anti-air up smash, which I could have avoided by staying more grounded, a big flaw of mine in this set. In the second stock, I got a really early stock with a down to jab F smash, a really strong combo for Chrome. It usually doesn't work on Fox at that percent, but due to Byron's DI, it worked out. After that, I closed out the game with an F smash after he missed an up smash tech chase. After that set, I knew I had to clean up my gameplay. I was playing too slow and messing up my ledge traps a lot. Next up was Funky, a really good Pac-Man from Switzerland. I knew beforehand that he has a lot of crazy items with Pac-Man, but I also knew the counterplay to them, so I wasn't too scared. Pac-Man is also a matchup I'm comfortable in since I like the slower pace, plus I have some experience in the matchup. Game 1 started off really badly for me. He got a good advantage state going and got a really early stock. Thankfully, I got a cheesy up B while recovering to make the game even. From there, I was able to play my game and I took game 1 pretty convincingly. Game 2 was on Town and City, usually a really great stage for Croy. But against Pac-Man, it's not as good because Pac-Man can camp really well on the side platforms and it becomes FD at times, which favors Pac-Man. Because of this, and me overcommitting a lot, Funky was able to take the game convincingly. Game 3 felt easier since small battlefield allowed me to pressure him hard since I could close the space between us easily. He did end up getting the first stock by finding a nice bell confirm on my air dodge. The whole game was super close. He lived big hits like my bear until 140%, which allowed him to rack up percent of his own. Thankfully, at the end, I managed to clutch it with a nice bear on his landing. Game 4, we went back to PS2, and there's not much to say about this game. I played really well. I finally managed to adapt to his neutral well, and my advantage was on point, winning me the set 3-1. Next up was Carper 64, one of the best Luigis in Europe. Luigi is a really scary matchup for me since Chrom has to interact with him eventually, and he's also the perfect combo weight for Luigi. I had played Carper in this matchup at the previous Exodus, and that set went to game 5, so I had to play on point. The start of the set was, well, to say the least, unfortunate. He 2-stocked me in both games 1 and 2, putting him up 2-0 in the set. I knew that I could make the comeback. I made some really crucial mistakes in the previous games, such as landing carelessly on Luigi's shield and doing some risky approaches. Game 3 was dominant for me. I started playing way more careful, something that I should have done from the start of the set. I adapted to his disadvantaged options, especially his down Bs, and that way managed to get much more damage from my openings. I also managed to cover his spot dodges, which net him big openings in the previous games. The next game didn't go as well though. His first stock was pretty dominant. He managed to win crucial interactions while keeping advantage as well. Because of this, he managed to hold the lead pretty much the whole game, and I had to play catch up. During the last stock, I was really scared since one grab from him would end the set. I managed to get a really cheesy reversals with a get-up attack, clutching me game 4 and keeping me in the set.
Oh, that was scary! No jump! No jump! That's a no chance! It's gonna go too low!
Game 5 was dominant for me. I managed to avoid every Luigi combo with great SDI, and I didn't get hit by any down Bs. I did go for a risky F smash at the end, which could have made the game much closer, but thankfully my SDI saved me. This reverse trio was huge. Otherwise, I would have had to win a lot of sets to win the tournament. After this set, I already started feeling mentally tired. Next up was Destiny, the best player in Switzerland, so the tournament wouldn't be getting any easier. And this set with Destiny was tragic. I started out with Roy, since I felt like trying him, and he might do slightly better than Chrom in the matchup, and that pick ended up not working out. I missed a lot of up Bs out of shield, and he read many of my defensive options really well. Game 3, I did try the Chrom out, but ended up SDing at the start, which allowed him to control the game better and take the game convincingly. I didn't get tilted by this too much, though, since I knew I could still win easily as long as I stick with Chrom and play a bit more patient. Next up was Yaka, the best Isabel in Europe. I have played Yaka in tournament twice before, beating him both times, so I felt pretty confident going into the set. Chrom also does really well with his Isabel, doesn't really let her set up her slingshots, and he can just pressure Isabel really well himself. Game 1 started off really well. I was keeping Yaka in disadvantage for a long time and eventually ended up taking the first stock. I got some extra credit as well, but ended up overextending in advantage, which let him take my first stock. In the end, it got pretty close. He almost got a really early edgeguard on me, but I ended up making it back.
No jump, he's gonna spike him, or he's gonna go able to get back.
After that, I messed up a crucial jab back air, but it didn't end up mattering much. Game 2 went much better already. I ended up getting both of his first stocks really fast with a hard read F smash on his first stock, and then with a jab back air from a tech chase on the second stock. I ended up cleaning the game after that pretty nicely. Game 3 started as well as it could have. I seriously defted him immediately.
No jump. Okay. Pushing right back to stage, but once again,
He did the same to me right back, due to me missing a crucial tech on his dare, so I couldn't capitalize on the lead that well. Jaka played the rest of the game really well. I just couldn't clutch it out, and he kept advantage excellently.
and he was ready and Yaka winning in a clutch fashion this game 3, so let's see now that you are back to Pokemon Stadium if he manages to do the same twice in a row. For now it's looking quite grim because he's already taken 70% with the good frame drop, and once again,
I still defted him again at the start of game 4, but again he pro'd it back. Whenever I did something crazy to him, he would just start playing a lot better. It was kind of insane. The game was getting tense, and he was yet again keeping advantage well, but he overextended in an edge guard, which made me get a really early reversal. I had advanced in the grand finals to fight Destiny again. This time I decided to start with Chrom, since my Roy was playing kinda off that day. I also had to win 2 sets in a row, so I couldn't afford any unnecessary game losses. I did end up losing game 1 anyways. Destiny's movement was really on point, and he kept mixing up his pressure. I did bring it to last stock last hit though, and I realized I just need to play a bit slower and bait out crack shoots in mid-range, since it's Terry's only good option there. This Terry started off game 2 really nicely, delivering around 90% on me. In general, his advantage is really good. Thankfully, Terry can't really edgeguard Crom, so Terry won't be getting early kills without setups. After those 9%, I got a really huge air dodge read after I hit a jab, which gave me a lot of momentum. I even got the same read to end his second stock. Closed the game dominantly with a 2 stock. Game 3 mattered a lot, since if I lost I would be 1 game away from losing the tournament, so I really needed to win this one. I was leading for most of the game, but he got a clutch combo on me, which led me off stage with a jump, leading into a free edge guard. I brought it back immediately, but Destiny took the lead back again. I did get a really clutch reversal up air from disadvantage, which led to advantage and eventually a kill. I was really relieved.
Oh, okay.
Game 4 of the first set was probably the best I've played the whole tournament. My advantage was super on point and my spacing in neutral was really tight. I didn't fish much either. I especially abused the grab ledge edgeguard versus Terry. It is super good versus him and you can cover pretty much everything with it on reaction.
Crazy, that try.
I also hit this sick sequence.
You have to find a way to kill. And he's not ready for that this time.
I was afraid of not being set up.
That's so many damage. There's no jump now.
Is this?
Oh, that should be it. There's no jump. Yes,
yeah,
that beat there.
it's gonna take it.
So I reset the bracket. I was 1 set away from winning the tournament. I was playing much better in this set, probably because of my momentum from game 4 of the last set. Destiny ended up making a really clutch comeback in game 1 of the set. I was slightly devastated at first, but then I remembered it's just Terry and those kind of comebacks happen all the time. Game 2 was a lot of scrambling and many awkward scenarios, especially on the second stock. He even started the game really well. Thank God, Crom is also a character who is very good at comebacks. My tech chases and edge guards were on point. It was time for the crucial game 3 situation again.
Because any setup could kill. Destiny barely has Go setup.
Oh,
be careful about.
It was similar to the other games. A lot of scrambles and awkward scenarios, and my advantage was still on point. What was different though was the fact that Destiny overextended with an edge guard and I reversed him for it. That changed pretty much the whole game, so I was able to take it cleanly. Until this point, we had only been playing on small battlefield, but for game 4, he went to Hollow Bastion. At this point of the set, my hands were starting to feel numb from playing all day, so I was making a lot of miss-inputs this game, and it was even more scrambly than the other games. Destiny was in control of the whole game pretty much, keeping advantage really well and getting crazy reads. For example, the early up B on my first stock. He ended up taking the game cleanly. It was time for the absolutely final game on the PS2, everyone's favorite stage. I stretched a bit and took a few deep breaths as well. I was ready. My first stock was super clean. I barely got hit at all. I was pretty used to how he plays by now, so it was all falling into place. I was playing it extremely safe, barely getting hit by his big openers, and I managed to hold my lead very well. He eventually took my second stock, but I had around 100% of extra credit. I was still really scared, and I kept getting flashbacks of game 1 of the set. I played extremely safe until I went for a greedy grab on the last stock, which he dodged and almost killed me for. After putting me to the ledge though, he went for an overextension with Power Geyser, and I took the tournament. I was very relieved. It had been a 9-game grand finals, and I was already really tired before the set even started. I was also very happy. To make a comeback like that after getting 3-0'd in winners felt really good. I was the Exodus 3 champion. Thank you everyone for watching. I know this recap is pretty late, but I hope you all enjoyed it. I will be back with a colossal recap next week. See you guys then.